such a pleasure to be here. I want to echo my co-panelists in thanking the organizers for this wonderful opportunity to share some of my work and to be in conversation with the scholars I have long admired. So in what follows, I will offer a consideration of what lessons the history of African American radicals, and in particular, Black left feminists' engagements with China, which my current book explores, holds for today's activists. So my book project argues that traveling to China and residing there for extended periods of time enabled Black radical activists to observe and participate actively in anti-imperialist and revolutionary movements, expand their networks, refine and redefine their ideas, and harness the Chinese government's immense resources and anti-imperialist commitments. But at the same time, made it more difficult to disentangle their visions of liberation from that of Beijing, shaped by and in service to its own domestic and geostrategic interests. Moreover, although African American radicals and the Chinese Communist Party worked together to forge Afro-Asian anti-imperialist solidarities, their collaborations were often fraught with disagreements, sometimes expressed and other times subtle. So these stories of ideological cross-pollination, of agreements and disagreements, I hope might be useful to contemporary internationalist activists who also seek to work across racial and national lines and have to navigate the often muddy and turbulent waters of international politics. First of all, we need to center feminist, queer, and radical visions of anti-colonial and anti-imperialist solidarity. Black radical activists forged Afro-Asian alliances to undo overlapping violent systems such as racial capitalism, patriarchy, and colonialism. For them, their point of entry, a departure, was an inquiry into how such global structures interacted to produce and perpetuate unfreedom for the exploited and the oppressed the world over, rather than simply a focus on individual harm that sidelined analyses of the operations of imperialism and colonialism. They aim to reorient public perspectives away from activist projects within the modern nation state and the promotion of liberal reformism toward transnational radical emancipatory designs. So Black radicals' engagements with China's socialist construction were linked to their efforts to support other emancipatory movements, including the Palestinian liberation struggle. And solidarity with African American activists was part of China's proletarian internationalist foreign policy. So this commitment to undermining global capitalism and imperialism and creating a just world order should continue to be the hallmark of today's activism. Furthermore, Black radicals, including in particular Black radical women, played crucial roles in the history of Afro-Asian solidarity. While acknowledging and celebrating Black women activists' contributions, we should also appreciate how difficult it was for them to completely break out of the dominant epistemic and political straitjacket of their time. They bumped up against prevailing notions of gender and sexuality, even as they were often complicit in reinforcing normative masculinist discourses and power structures. This means that we should not only uncover and center the formulations of the radical Black female subject that did challenge the hegemony of heteronormative notions of gender and sexuality, we should also remain in conversation with feminist and queer scholar activists in order to better discern the complexities and contradictions of internationalist thought and praxis. Second, Black radicals' successes and challenges of negotiating differences while building solidarities resonate with today's internationalists committed to weaving together multiple radical traditions. The Chinese Communist Party and Black radicals enacted a political and intellectual traffic that flowed both ways. Not only did China's upholding of anti-imperialist internationalism and promotion of the Maoist blueprint for global transformation inflect African diasporic radical intellectual traditions, but the transmission of Black radicals' work into the Chinese public sphere and their embrace of the Chinese Communist Party's ideas also shaped perceptions of the relationship between class, gender, race, and empire, and articulations of socialism, feminism, and colonialism and cosmopolitanism in China. We should therefore remind ourselves that internationalism occurs on a bilateral, if not multilateral basis. But at the same time, certain notions central to Black radical thought did not translate into the context of China's socialist construction. Moreover, the Chinese Communist Party sometimes stretched the analytical scope of Mao Zedong's theory of revolutionary struggle and sought to convince Black radicals of its applicability. In turn, Black radicals were not always able to square their analyses with Maoist precepts and provided discordant responses. Third, Black radicals forged Afro-Asian alliances as vehicles for anti-capitalist and decolonial global transformation in the interest of the wretched of the earth, and more than any nation-state's instruments for pursuing domestic and international interests. They selectively drew on Chinese Communist Party's ideas to craft independent voices, and in other cases, articulated political and ideological positions that diverged from those promoted by the party state. Ensnared within a messy network of cooperation, competition, and conflict among anti-colonial countries and socialist countries, Black radicals occasionally registered their reluctance to pick sides or attempted to paper over ideological and political disagreements. Such discrepancies between Black radicals' revolutionary blueprints and China's vision of national and global transformation sometimes were symptoms of miscommunication and misunderstanding that arose as a result of language barriers, cultural differences, the former's limited exposure to Chinese history and politics. At other times, the gaps reflected conscious efforts to really charge an independent path. Whether they departed from the CCP's lines intentionally or not, Black radicals consistently attempted to forge ahead with their own agendas in alliance with, but not in subordination to any nation state. It is therefore necessary for today's activists and scholars to continue to explore how to navigate the treacherous waters of the domestic politics of nation states and the rapids of regional and global political and social change, and to transcend contexts of competing national interests and geopolitical calculations. In particular, at present, China's economic and political ambitions might be enlisted to redraw the global balance of power in favor of the global South. Today's activists might do well to push China to do away with any trappings of Euro-North American modernity and play a crucial role in the creation of a just world order. Thank you so much.
I'm Michael Hudson. I'm appearing here for the International Manifesto Group. If you like this video and ones like it, please subscribe. For more information, go to the address on the screen.